Hello everybody, welcome along to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, where it's semi-finals, week in the Champions League, the first leg of it anyway. And it's a contest between two sides who know what it takes to win club football's greatest prize. Real Madrid, the best side that has ever graced this competition's illustrious history, winning 13 Champions League titles, including European Cups within that as well. Chelsea, of course, have only won it on one solitary occasion, but how they would love to add to it in 2021, 9 years after they, of course, beat Bayern Munich in their own backyard at the Allianz Arena. And early pictures are showing the injured Madrid players of Sergio Ramos, Lucas Vazquez and Fel Mendy encouraging their hosts as they enter the field of play at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano, where it's a rather overcast night at Real Madrid's temporary venue. Of course, the Santiago Bernabeu is under renovation for the time being. And of course, as we know, with the current climate with COVID and no fans being allowed in European games, the Bernabeu would have been absolutely rocking tonight for this Champions League semi-final as Real Madrid face off against Chelsea in the Spanish capital. Well, these are two sides who have had very stubborn defences over the course of the last few months. Of course, since Thomas Tuchel came in at Chelsea, it has been the case, and Real Madrid have been a very difficult side to play under Zinedine Zidane, in which the football might not have been great, but in terms of keeping clean sheets, it has been a far cry better from what it has been previously. They line out with Thibaut Courtois in goal. No need for Chelsea fans to be introduced to him. It's a back three of Militao, Varane and Nacho as they seem to match Chelsea up from defence to attack tonight. And then it's the four of Carvajal, Marcelo, Casemiro and Kroos. And then, of course, at left wing back is Marcelo. Modric plays just in front of Karim Benzema and Vinicius Junior, who replaces Marco Asensio. Kroos, of course, comes in place of Rodrigo, who's been struggling with somewhat of injuries of late, is Kroos, and Marcelo replaces Isco to accommodate their change in formation. The subs: Andre Lunin, Diego Altuve, Alvaro Odriozola, Isco, Antonio Blanco, Miguel Gutierrez, Eden Hazard, Mariano, Marco Asensio, Rodrigo, and Sergio Arribas. Chelsea unchanged on the Thomas Tuchel, a manager who, as we know, is famous for rotating his team. There you go with that team that started the 1-0 win against West Ham United. It's Eduard Mendy in goal. It's a back three of Rudiger, Silva and Andreas Christensen. As Piliqueta, Jorginho, Kante and Chilwell are the four. Mount, Werner and Pulisic are the three up front. Mason Mount plays for Chelsea for the 100th time tonight, and it comes in this Champions League semi-final first leg. The subs are Kepa, Willy Caballero, Alonso, James, Emerson, Hudson-Odoi, Gilmore, Zuma, Havertz, Ziyech, Giroud and Tammy Abraham. We are almost ready to go. Two European heavyweights clashing in the Spanish capital. And we wait for the Dutch referee Danny Macauley's whistle. Of course, supporting him is the two assistants of Hessel Stiegstra and Jon de Vries. And of course, should VAR need to intervene, I have another countryman in Kevin Blom and Joachim Kamphaus. So it is Real Madrid who get us underway in their all-white strip. Chelsea in their all-blue. And for the first time tonight, they are meeting in club football's greatest knockout competition. Real Madrid, as we know, the ultimate side of this competition. Chelsea, of course, a side who have had their hands on this before. Probably to some, maybe not enough. I'll be hoping that tonight could be a potential run for them to reach the final in Istanbul in late May. And there's an early chance for Pulisic to get the ball under control as he tried to receive it from Jorginho, who played it forward. Of course, they won it in midfield. It was Marcelo that was closed down well in there as N'Golo Conte went away with it. That's a good sliding challenge by Christensen to stop the ball going on through to Vinicius Junior from Toni Kroos's pass. It's a Real Madrid throw. 60 seconds in. Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 0 on the game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, remember. And of course, this is the first of our 2 semi-finals in the Champions League. Mike Arneman will be bringing you Manchester City's clash against Paris Saint-Germain, the first leg of that at their Parc des Princes tomorrow night in the French capital. Casemiro plays the ball forward. It's going to be left by Thiago Silva as he allows Edouard Mendy to come out from his goal, all the way out of it as well as he's out of his box. Ball forward for Mount to chase from. Courtois now out of his goal. He then sends it high into the air. Thiago Silva gets that under control nicely. Of course, he was a Champions League runner-up last year with Paris Saint-Germain alongside his current boss, Thomas Tuchel. Werner and the defender Eder Militao competing amongst one another there. It's a lovely ball by the Brazilian to Karim Benzema. What a season he's having. 27 goals for him. He'll be looking to add to that tonight, no doubt. Benzema now to Dani Carvajal, one of a few Real Madrid players that have won this trophy on 4 occasions. Varane to Nacho. He's filling in as a third centre-back tonight. He played at left-back in their goalless draw with Real Betis on the weekend. And both sides come into this with not conceding in a long time, in fact. Chelsea, of course, have not conceded in their last 3 in all competitions. Real Madrid have not conceded in their last 4 in all competitions. So don't be surprised if this game is 0-0. Here is Casemiro to Rafael Varane. Lots has been made about his future and whether he will be a Real Madrid player come the summer. The likes of Manchester United are chasing after his signature. Here is Nacho, gets it from Courtois. Nacho will play the ball along the floor, looking for Vinicius Junior, putting Christensen under pressure. He's able to knock it to Thiago Silva. Here's N'Golo Conte, been put under pressure by Casemiro, who is a real stalwart and a real player in that midfield for Real Madrid. Marcelo goes down, wanting a foul as he felt that Conte, right in the middle of the pitch, just put an arm in the face of the Brazilian. And it's a Real Madrid throw-in. Remember, going into this game, Thomas Tuchel has never lost to Zinedine Zidane as a manager. He has faced him 4 times, winning once and drawing 3. And all of those occasions have come when he was the Paris Saint-Germain boss. So he knows a thing or two about beating his counterpart tonight in the Real dugout. Mendy sends it forward first time. Good control by Werner. Tries to get Pulisic in play. Varane goes into the side of him. Danny McAlee, the ref says play out. Now it's Timo Werner. First time we're going to see him have a run at the Madrid defence. Plays it to Pulisic, who just pokes it to Azpilicueta, who's in support. Now Pulisic's in the box. Taking on Nacho. Crosses to the back post. Chilwell gets under control. Now it's to Mason Mount. Chelsea probing here. Mount just trying to look around to find his options. He gets it from Jorginho. Here is Thiago Silva. Now Christensen. Chelsea just playing keep ball at the moment as they attempt to get back in Real Madrid's box once more. Now they have it in their own half with Antonio Rudiger. Here is Chilwell. Now Mount. Good challenge by Militao there. The referee didn't seem to think so, Danny Macaulay. And he's given a Chelsea free kick right on the halfway line. And we are 5 minutes into this encounter. It's Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 0. Well, he goes in from behind at Militao. He certainly doesn't get any of the ball before he finds Mount. But there's an earlier shout for a handball from Werner, who just sort of looked like he might have just been keeping it under his arm there, to be fair. It's a lovely ball by Mount to Chilwell. Not the best first touch. Has to try and keep that in. He tried to back heel it, but it bounced off Carvajal. Here is now Rafa Varane, who's been put under real pressure from Timo Werner. Does eventually find a white shirt and pick out Eder Militao. Rudiger able to flick it away from Luka Modric. Did really well as the Real Madrid number 10. Still an important player for Los Blancos. Was circling Rudiger there. But Chelsea are much more of the corner of the two so far in this first leg of this first semi-final. Here's Azpilicueta. Now Christian Pulisic. Now N'Golo Conte. Azpilicueta wants more. Conte wants more. Holds off the challenge from Toni Kroos. Can't pick anybody out as Nacho blocks the cross. Then Marcelo pumps it clear. Silva down the line to Azpilicueta. Left by Jorginho for Rudiger. Jorginho now has it. Chelsea having a lot of the ball so far in the opening 7 minutes. But yet to really get a chance on Thibaut Courtois' goal. And it wasn't the best ball by the Chelsea midfield as it's run on through to Courtois. Now Real Madrid have it with Casemiro. Out to the right with Dani Carvajal. Casemiro once more scored in the final 4 years ago against Juventus. He scored that brilliant low drive, if you can remember, where he hit it from about 25 yards. It was a complete bolt from the blue in which Real Madrid went 2-1 up in that game. And then, of course, another player in their squad for tonight's game, Marco Asensio, managed to score in that game. And, of course, Ronaldo, as he so often did, scored in the Champions League final, scored in 2 of 4 for Real Madrid over the course of his spell in Spain. Vinicius plays a nice one too with Benzema. He's going to get there ahead of Azpilicueta as he wins that race. Now Benzema. Now Marcelo. The corner of the box is Toni Kroos, the German. Short ball along the floor to Eder Militao, who looks like early on he's going to be the more forward one of the trio at the back between him, Nacho and Varane. He goes down under an arm from a Chelsea player. Danny Macaulay says no, but a free kick has been given here as Timo Werner goes into the side of Casemiro, which is taken quickly. Here is Marcelo. Chip ball forward to Benzema in the box. Competing against Thiago Silva. Gets the cross on his left foot. It's blocked off by Silva, but it rolls on through to Edouard Mendy, who has his first touch with his gloves this evening. And then he rolls it out to Silva. Not the best pass by Conte. It's Vinicius. Tries to pick out Benzema along the floor. Well intercepted by Chelsea. It was a vital one as well because it was given away very, very easily there in a real precarious position as Mount now comes away with it for Chelsea. He's got Pulisic to his right. He's also got Werner there, but he decides to carry it a little bit forward. Mount does go for goal. It's blocked. Pulisic with the header. It's Werner. Brilliant save by Courtois. The first big chance of this first leg has gone Chelsea's way. Pulisic set it up for Timo Werner, but he's been denied at close range by Thibaut Courtois. And what a big save it is. Well, it's a very, very big save. Pulisic just heads it down into Werner. You think he's just going to score and take it beyond Courtois, but he hits it straight at him. And that's what lets Werner down. He missed a real glorious chance at the London Stadium on Saturday evening in which he just sort of hit it with his left foot. I think he's done exactly the same again, but he's hit it straight at the keeper. Here is Werner now. On the edge of the box, shoots low. Gets it on target once more, but it's saved by Courtois. But that was a big, big moment for Chelsea. Mount's shot took a deflection. Pulisic with a delicious flick into Timo Werner, who took it first time. Courtois made a really good reaction save with his right foot to keep it out. He spread himself quickly, the big Belgian. But you can't help but feel if Chelsea's going to get these chances tonight, they have got to take them. And Timo Werner, unfortunately for himself, wasn't able to do so. And that's the first big moment we've had in 10 minutes. And Chelsea, of course, are going to get an away goal. We're very, very close to getting the first goal of this tie and the first one of the night. As the first 10.5 minutes have been played, it is Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 0 in the game and listened to on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Good challenge by Militao on Varane. It does go on through to Pulisic. Conte to Azpilicueta. Good low cross. Werner sliding in. It goes away from him as Carvajal's back to play the ball along the floor. Nervy moments here for Real Madrid as they are just being forced to stay inside their own half at the moment. Everybody is back in white. Here's Chilwell. Mount to Chilwell once more. Now Rudiger. Jorginho tries to play it through. Good block by Casemiro. Jorginho has it once more. Chelsea have had a few passes that have been blocked by a Real Madrid shirt. Go back to them. As Azpilicueta now to Conte. Good forward run. Nice flicker to Pulisic. He then lays it off to Mount. Now Chilwell's to his left. Low cross in. It's bounced off the shoulder of Danny Carvajal. He tucked his arms in, to be fair. There were appeals by Chelsea for a handball, but Danny Iles says no, and they've got a corner. Well, you can see Carvajal did everything right. He just tucked his arms in as he slid in to block Chilwell's cross. Danny Iles, the Dutch referee, was in a very good place to make the call and not give the penalty. Chelsea's first corner of the night. Mason Mount will deliver this. He decides to go for it, and then he fakes it. He hopefully will now put this in at the second time. Vasquez does, away by Varane. Powerfully away as well. As Conte has the ball at his feet. Real Madrid in no rush to get out whatsoever, as they are very content with letting Thomas Tuchel's side have the ball. Ball forward by Mendy. Sees Nacho get up above Pulisic. Vinicius then tried to flick it into Kroos. But it's cut out well by Chelsea. Here's Conte now. Picks out his midfield partner, Jorginho. Here's Mount on the left. Now Chilwell, right by the byline, receives it. Jorginho has it once more. Now Rudiger. He then looks to play it forward. He picks out Pulisic, who stayed onside. Werner's alongside and Pulisic might go it alone. He dances away from Courtois and Pulisic has scored. Chelsea have been absolutely superb from the start tonight. And Christian Pulisic stayed calm under pressure and flies Chelsea into the lead. And you can't say that they don't deserve it. Here at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano, Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 1, and it's the American Christian Pulisic who puts them in front. It's a lovely ball by Rudiger, and Pulisic is onside. He could play it to Werner, but he thinks he's just going to go it alone. If he can get away from Courtois, he knows he's going to at least have an attempt at goal, and he does exactly that. Courtois tries his best, but Pulisic has got two quick feet to dance away from him. And he just knows if he gets it on target, he'll potentially get a block from any Real Madrid player into the back of the net. And that's exactly what he got from Rafa Varane. But it's an absolutely pinpoint pass by Rudiger. He was allowed to play it. Pulisic was onside. He was actually behind Carvajal when that ball was played. And he was superb as he finished it off. And Chelsea lead with the first quarter of this game on the clock. Well, Pulisic was a man who was frustrated, of course, in the early part of Thomas Tuchel's reign. It is still fairly early, remember, in the German's tenure at Stamford Bridge. And, of course, he really didn't feature, and there was a lot of questions about whether he was a long-term plan under Thomas Tuchel, but the last few weeks have shown that he is a big part of things. And of course, he is given Chelsea the lead tonight. And more importantly, they've got that away goal that they were absolutely craving at the start of the night. And I'll be hoping that they can build on this, as Madrid have been very, very slow in this opening 15 and a half minutes. As there's a defensive header behind us. It's another corner for Chelsea, as it was just a little bit too much, as Courtois knew at the moment it left, I think, at Militao's head, that he wasn't going to keep that in. It was going to go out for a corner. It will be Ben Chilwell who will take from this right-hand side. He's going to swing this in. He was looking for a forward run, but they all decided to go back. It's away by Raphael Varane. It's headed out a long way by the French defender. Pulisic to Conte. Now Mendy to Jorginho. Mendy has it once more. A lot of time to look up and find a Chelsea player. Not the best there by Jorginho, but he's won a free kick as Luka Modric was putting him under pressure. If you are just tuning in to Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary, it is Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 1. Christian Pulisic's goal, 14 minutes in, has put the Blues in front at the side, of course, who have won the most Champions Leagues at 13. And Chelsea have really taken the game to their hosts and have been good value for their lead. As this should be the side for Real Madrid to flicker into life, as Vinicius is fouled by Christensen, who did have his hands in the back of the young Brazilian. Kroos takes it short to Karim Benzema, holds off Jorginho, tried to find Vinicius. Well, blocked by Christensen. Real Madrid still have it here with Casemiro. Now out to Eder Militao. Modric makes a run down the line. He gets it from Carvajal. Not the best first touch. Rudiger steps across to clear it out for a throw. It has been a real top-notch performance so far. If you asked Thomas Tuchel what he would have took from the opening 18 minutes, he would have definitely took the start they've made. Werner, of course, missed a real good chance. It could have made it 1-0 very early on, but then, of course, the next best chance they were presented with Christian Pulisic, he took. Of course, he had to do a lot to even get the shot away. Here is Benzema now, as they are inside Chelsea's half. Here's Modric, the Croatian. Now Varane, who will now find Toni Kroos. Of course, there's lots of Champions League final against Chelsea, remember, 9 years ago, in which the Blues were victorious under Roberto Di Matteo. Vinicius. Casemiro. Militao. Now Raphael Varane. Kroos. Bit of space on this left for him to drive forward. Crosses in on his left foot, well blocked by Conte. Good block as well. And it just streams all the way through to the goalkeeper, Eduard Mendy. Well, that's what N'Golo Conte does so well. He just covers every blade of grass, doesn't he, the French midfielder? He almost comes off the pitch and you just think in his mind that the amount of energy he has, he could play 90 minutes and then he could play another 90 minutes straight after and he would not be feeling tired, such as the athleticism and the energy that the French midfielder possesses. As the Spanish capital is now starting to see the rain fall as we approach 20 minutes on the clock. Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 1. Remember, our coverage of European football this week doesn't stop. As I said earlier on, Mike Arneman is on the mic as PSG entertain Manchester City. Join me on Thursday as Manchester United entertain Roma at Old Trafford, and Arsenal take on Unai Emery, an old manager of theirs, as he's now currently coaching Villarreal. As Mike Arneman is on the mic for that. Both games, of course, kick off at 8 o'clock and will be both live on Football Commentary Live. So you've got a choice of 2 to choose from for that on Thursday night. Werner slips away from Militao there, who pulled on his shirt, but Werner is flagged offside. He tried to bend his run, but he was ultimately unsuccessful, the German, who was just fractionally offside. Varane was the last line of defence there, but he was, I think, just stepping forward there. Modric to Carvajal. Now Casemiro. Touch deserts him as Conte is there to step in and get in front of him and get it for Chelsea. Jorginho. Just feels as though that Chelsea are handling this occasion better at the moment. And you'd think if anyone in Europe could play a semi-final, it would be a lot of these Real Madrid players. They have been there, they've done that. They know how to play these semi-finals. But of course, there has been so many occasions where they have been behind and they have managed to come back. I remember against Bayern Munich 3 years ago, they fell behind thanks to a Joshua Kimmich opening goal, and then they got 2 in Germany to win the first leg 2-1. And of course, a pretty similar start to what it is tonight. To be fair to them, lovely play between Conte and Azpilicueta. Now Conte finds Christian Pulisic, who's really proven too hot to handle at the moment for these Madrid defenders. Slides it through to Werner, who decides to flick that back in. He did well to keep that in, did Werner. He felt that that was the best thing for him to do. He just felt that it was just too much for him to keep in and keep a hold of. Madrid now have it with goalkeeper Thibaut Courtois. Benzema away from Rudiger. Now Casemiro up from midfield. Benzema gets it back. Real Madrid are yet to register a shot on Edouard Mendy's goal. Is that about to change? Benzema, he does shoot here, and he's hit the outside of the post. Well, you give him time to shoot, he will nearly find the back of the net or even score, and he was very close there. But the post is not his best friend there and saves Chelsea from conceding and making the game go back level at the Stadio Alfredo Di Stefano. But that's the first time Chelsea have allowed Real Madrid to get a shot on goal or any time in their final 18 yards. Conte slides it through to Werner, but it's a little bit beyond him. Wasted from Conte, it must be said. He just broke through the Real Madrid midfield like it was not even there, non-existent. He just played it through to Werner, but it was a really poor ball into the German as Real Madrid take the kick short. And I said a few moments ago that the rain was coming down in Madrid. It is now hammering down. And with the rain coming down, it's affecting the body language of those Madrid players, I think, because they've really not been able to get a tune out of any of them at the moment. The big players, Benzema, Kroos, Modric, Varane, the players that we know have been such key, indispensable figures for them over the last 5 to 6 years, really at the moment have been thwarted and you could possibly say outplayed by Chelsea. It had a very good 24 minutes, and N'Golo Kanté at the moment is having a lot of joy against this Real Madrid midfield and defence as he goes into the box, lays it off to Pulisic. Now he plays it to Chilwell, who gets the shot in low, and it drifts wide of Courtois' goal as he lets it run. The ball from Pulisic was played across to Ben Chilwell. Werner was also getting in on it. I think Chilwell just gave him the shout, leave it, I'll have a go here. He just didn't really get a hold of it. He just trickled wide of Courtois' goal and his left-hand side. Remember, you can follow our page at Football Commentary Live. You can follow us at Commentary Live 1 on Twitter. And of course, you can follow us on Facebook. Simply go to facebook.com/FootComLive. Capital F, capital C, and capital L for the Facebook address. And then, of course, for Twitter at Commentary Live 1, capital C, capital L within that. And of course, that is all one word. 25 minutes played here in the first leg of the first UEFA Champions League semi-final in the 2021 season. It is Real Madrid 0, Chelsea 1. Christian Pulisic's goal, 14 minutes in, is the difference at the moment. And it could have been a whole lot better if Timo Werner, a few minutes before Pulisic opened the scoring, put the ball in the back of the net, but it was only to be denied by the right foot of Thibaut Courtois. Casemiro, Real Madrid are starting to maybe grow into this game from an attacking point of view. It's been non-existent for 20 minutes. Lovely ball out to the right by Toni Kroos, which he so often does so successfully. But that wasn't the best ball by Carvajal inside to Modric. And then Mason Mount tries to play the diagonal to the right to Azpilicueta, but it bounces off the back of Danny McAlee, who has to stop play and let the ball go back with Mount. As now play resumes. Here's Jorginho. Chilwell. Mason Mount. Werner. Mount. Now to Jorginho. Rudiger. Jorginho again. Now Thiago Silva. Forward, he plays it along the floor to Pulisic, who's got work to do. It's a good challenge by Vinicius. It looked anyway. He's saying that he got the ball, as is his manager. And I think Danny McAlee is going to issue a yellow card. Yes, he is. Vinicius Jr. has been booked. The young Brazilian, he's made over 100 appearances for Real Madrid, is not reacted too kindly to that. Well, he might just clip Pulisic at first, but he does get a lot of the ball as he goes through the American. And it's a pretty easy decision, according to the referee, Danny McAlee. Well, Christian Pulisic does remind me of a certain Eden Hazard who's on the bench. Of course, he was bought in just over 2 years ago from Borussia Dortmund. And, of course, when Hazard left for just over 100 million, Pulisic was his direct replacement. And, of course, has shown glimpses of what he can do. Here they come again, though, Chelsea. Chilwell with the cross. Good sliding challenge by Carvajal. They're just breaking so easily, Chelsea, in the Madrid box. And that has got to be a real concern for Zidane. Here's Benzema. Now to Toni Kroos. Space here for the German to bring the ball through the middle. Now to Vinicius. Through to Kroos, despite a knockoff as Azpilicueta. It's gone off Christensen. And it's a Real Madrid corner. As Toni Kroos goes over to take it. Well, bit of defending for Chelsea to do from this. Modric has come short for it. Whether or not Kroos will go for the shot is another thing. He decides to go short. Modric now to Marcelo. Will cross on his left foot. He floats it to the back post, looking for Casemiro. Good flick on. Militao gets up. It's come to Benzema. 1-1. Karim Benzema with a superb finish to level it up. And it's a routine straight from the training ground by Los Blancos. Militao would add it to Benzema on his chest and half volleys it beyond a very hapless Edouard Mendy. It's Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1, and it's game on here in the Spanish capital. Marcelo puts the ball in toward Casemiro. Good flick on. Militao just gets a glancing header. He gets up above Rudiger, and I think it was Jorginho there. Really clever from the Brazilian. It comes to Benzema off his face, and then bang on the volley. Brilliant finish. 1-1 here at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano. Brilliant finish. And the moment it left his foot, it was beyond Mendy and into the back of the net. Well, they have responded to going behind. And it's come from one of Europe's most deadly forwards this season in Karim Benzema. 28 for the season for him now. And, of course, he threatened early on from long range with that strike, which hit the outside of Edouard Mendy's post. But he was given a chance in the box. And when he was given that, he made sure he stuck it away. And he did that emphatically. Ball down the left-hand side for Vinicius. Christensen holds it off, and it's gone out of play for goal kick. Half an hour now played. Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. Pulisic with the opener, which was cancelled out just moments ago by Karim Benzema. And this is a game you're listening to on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentaries. Rudiger gives it to Mendy. He clears it forward for Pulisic. Nacho gets up above him. Goes through to Modric, who goes down, wants a free kick. Danny Mackley says play on, doesn't even acknowledge Modric's play continues with Chelsea. Pulisic now to Mason Mount, of course, making his 100th appearance for Chelsea tonight. He crosses in. It's gone off the midriff of Casemiro, who's down on the floor in some discomfort. Moss is on the floor. Chelsea are going to send men up from the back for this corner. Well, it's just cannoned off his chest as Mount tried to get the cross in. Just a little bit winded there as Casemiro. I don't think there's anything else to worry about. As Chelsea have got another corner, but that's such a real kick in the teeth for Chelsea because they have been largely quite comfortable. And that's the first big opportunity Madrid have had inside Chelsea's box in this game. And they put it away in the back of the net. Here's this corner from Mason Mount. It's well whipped in, but it's straightforward for Courtois, who comes out and collects it very convincingly. He rolls it out to Vinicius from the left. He's away from Jorginho. He might still carry on with the ball at his feet here, the Brazilian Vinicius. Now he goes on the inside on his right foot. Carvajal. Here is Benzema. Finds Toni Kroos. He'll line it up. Kroos will go for the curler and curls it wide. But it was a good counter from Real Madrid. It was Toni Kroos who lined one up from a distance of around 18 yards, shall we say. Maybe a little bit shorter, but he curled it just beyond the post. There's Zinedine Zidane in his long coat with his hood up. Applauds what he saw from his team there in that attack as we are entering the final 12 and a half minutes of this first half. And a rain-soaked Madrid, and it's the rain which has just seemed to get heavier and heavier by the minute, shall we say. Play restarts with Mendy's kick. Away by Casemiro. Good foot in there by Silva. Forward by Kroos. As Piliqueta hooks it away at the first time of asking. Marcelo and Benzema with a little give and go. Now Marcelo, the stand-in skipper in the absence of Sergio Ramos, who it is believed is in line to return for the second leg next Wednesday. And of course, is in attendance tonight, as I noted earlier on. Now is Mason Mount. Short ball to Ben Chilwell. They have struck up a good understanding when they have played actually Chilwell and Mason Mount. It is a position that Mount doesn't actually drift on the left too a lot. He does just sort of maybe go there to try and receive the ball. He's been challenged there, though, by Militao. He made a very good challenge, in fact, as Mount is still down. Real Madrid well within their rights not to kick this out. Intercepted by Werner. I think Jorginho might do so now, or maybe not, as Mount has slowly got back to his feet. He's saying, where's the foul, ref? Danny Mackley just doesn't even look at him and just looks at the ball at Jorginho's feet, which he's got right on the halfway line. 1-1 here in this first leg of what's been a enticing Champions League first leg match so far between two great European sides. And of course, Chelsea have never lost to their Spanish opponents. They've only faced them 3 times. The latter of them coming 23 years ago, in a UEFA Super Cup match, in which Chelsea won 1-0 thanks to a Gus Poyet goal in Monaco. And then, of course, they faced them in the Cup Winners' Cup final in 1971. The first game was 1-1, like the scoreline is tonight, before Chelsea won in a replay 2-1 to seal the victory in what was, of course, Chelsea's first European trophy. Here's N'Golo Kanté. Slides it through to Pulisic. The American with a first-time low crossing from the right, cut out by the Madrid defence. Pulisic will get another bite to cross it in. Skims off Werner's head and goes out of play for a Real Madrid throw. But there's two players at the moment who are causing all sorts of problems to Real Madrid. It's N'Golo Conte and it's Christian Pulisic, who managed to pick Timo Werner up. He just couldn't direct it toward Thibaut Courtois, and instead it glided off his head and went out of play for a Real Madrid throw, as I mentioned. Here's Edouard Mendy. Just falling over where to go. Decides to play it down the middle and long toward Werner, who does get his head to it. Then wins the second ball as he flicks it first time on the volley to Pulisic. Now Conte. Is an attack brewing here for Chelsea. Jorginho. Mount. Chilwell now's on the left. Mount gets it back. There might have been an opportunity to cross there, Chilwell, but he did have a good look at it, to be fair, and maybe just thought that it wasn't the right option. Here is Thiago Silva. Blasts one from range and takes a nick off a Real Madrid player. That could have gone absolutely anywhere. And where it has gone, it has gone for a Chelsea corner. I think it might have actually took a nick off of Casemiro or Varane. The camera didn't really actually pan in the face of anybody there, but it took a nick off somebody. Kroos went out to close it down. It certainly didn't go off him. But of course, Thiago Silva's effort was a bad attempt, to be fair, from a centre-back. In by Mount. Courtois thought about coming and then decided to go back on his 6-yard box. Christensen flicks it on the edge of the box. It is stabbed away. Out for a throw as Thomas Tuchel just flicks it up and keeps the ball in his hand. Very methodical coach is the German. Took Paris Saint-Germain to the final last year, in which they were beaten 1-0 by Bayern Munich. Chelsea lose out here as Pulisic goes in on Marcelo, and he's going to get a yellow card from Danny Macaulay there. He just got robbed in the midfield, didn't he? It was really good persistence by Marcelo and just won it back. He got away from Christensen. Pulisic was closest to him. Yeah, he just gets his ankle and that's enough to make Marcelo go down. Kroos takes a free kick short to the man who was fouled. Marcelo is Casemiro. Modric. Not quite had his say in this semi-final first leg just yet. The Croatian midfielder. Forward by Militao. Cut out by Ben Chilwell. Rudiger now has it at the back. Decides to let the ball bounce and then play it forward. Jorginho. Modric put in the squeeze on the Chelsea number 5. Chilwell couldn't get around Danny Carvajal, who challenges and makes Chelsea get a throw as Carvajal is down on the ground. 6 minutes of the first half to play. At a rainy Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano, Real Madrid's training ground in temporary home. It is Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. Christian Pulisic scored the opening goal inside 14 minutes, in which, of course, he received a long ball from Rudiger, timed his run. It didn't even need VAR. And, of course, he rounded Thibaut Courtois and then lined the shot up as it took a big deflection off Rafael Varane. And, of course, Varane's deflection was in vain as it managed to go in the back of the net. And then Karim Benzema levelled it for Real Madrid to get them back in the game. Vinicius tries to give it to Marcelo, but he slips as he was trying to get on the receiving end of it. Pulisic under pressure from Kroos. Kroos with the foul, free kick. Right in front of Zinedine Zidane, who voices his displeasure at that. Well, since that equaliser, Real Madrid, it feels like, have turned the tide maybe just a little bit. Maybe Chelsea's attacking players just faded away. Of course, that first 20 minutes, they really weren't getting in behind Madrid. They allowed so much space. It's still happening a few times, especially with Conte, and especially with Pulisic, who's such a live wire, isn't he? It is a real good thing to see him play with so much energy. Well done there by Silva. He just took on the chest of Christensen. Now Chelsea come forward with Christian Pulisic through to Timo Werner on his right-hand side. Shoots on his right, but it's off target and didn't have the execution that I think he was hoping for there, Timo Werner. But once again, Chelsea go on the break and just catch Real Madrid a little bit stranded there. Goes on Werner's right. As we know, I think his left is actually his strongest, to be honest. But he goes on his right, and to be fair, the angle is shut there for Varane as he just let fly there, Werner. He couldn't go toward the far post, Courtois' right, because that was not even there, and he had to go toward the near post, and it just wasn't quite pulling off. Werner to Conte. They're in and around Real Madrid's 18-yard area. Conte now to Mason Mount. Will there be a goal right near the end of the first half for either side to take the lead? Militao with a good challenge on N'Golo Conte, who's been everywhere in that first half, and forces Militao to just knock it out of play for a Chelsea throw, which Mount takes quickly. He receives it back from Antonio Rudiger. Here is Rudiger once more. He gets it from Thiago Silva. Mount to Ben Chilwell. Jorginho has to go back. Rudiger. Real Madrid, I think, going to be satisfied at keeping this at 1-1. Chelsea want to be going into it 2-1 up, I think, as Piliqueta played the ball to Pulisic but slipped. He felt he was fouled. Danny Makeley's let a lot go tonight, the Dutch referee, but the ball from Modric, intended for Kroos down that left-hand side, is overhit as it goes out for a throw. And I think maybe the surface played a part there, but Chelsea can count themselves unlucky because Marcelo did foul as Piliqueta as he played that ball. He tried to play it through to Pulisic. He slipped, but the referee didn't think that that was a foul. Thrown by Piliqueta. Handed away well by Nacho. Here's Militao. Knocks it back to Thibaut Courtois. Final 2 minutes of the first half. Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. The first leg of this UEFA Champions League semi-final. Of course, you're listening to this on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. Chilwell and Carvajal going in for a 50-50. So it was Mason Mount and Carvajal going in for a 50-50. Chilwell had a separate incident in which he was in a bit of pain. He might have just got caught in the midriff. I think he actually got caught in an area that if you see any replays of a ball hitting that area, sensitive area for males, it's one that does make you wince. A little bit, it has to be said. Here's Varane. Now Nacho. Plays the ball forward as Piliqueta heads it away. Kroos. Blocked well by Pulisic. I think if you were to say who'd be the happier manager, you'd probably have to say maybe Tuchel. His side got off to a dream start, going in front inside 15 minutes. Of course, yes, they have conceded. You have to give Benzema a lot of credit for that finish because it was a real clever finish by the Real Madrid front man. But since then, they have threatened more. Defensively, they're not giving too much away, and there is a lot to be pleased about if I was the German coach. And those Chelsea fans at home will be feeling as though that they can come away from the Alfredo Di Stefano training ground, or the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano as it's known, feeling relatively happy. And there is the halftime whistle. 1-1 it is. It has been a real engaging encounter. Chelsea started fast. Were rewarded for that with Christian Pulisic scoring inside 14 minutes as he knocked it beyond Thibaut Courtois and then blasted it at Rafa Varane. And the French defender blocked, helped it on its way in to give Thomas Tuchel's side the lead, and more importantly, an away goal. But that was cancelled out from a well-worked corner in which Marcelo's cross was headed in by Casemiro in the box, then flicked on by Militao. Benzema took it down with his face and then smashed it on the volley beyond Eduard Mendy, who could do nothing to save it. Half-time at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano in this first leg of this semi-final. Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1.
Thank you very much, Matt, and we'll be back with Matt very, very soon. Closing stages of the game between Brentford and Rotherham is still 1-0 to the Bees, thanks to a first-half headed goal by Brian Mbeumo, who has now got off substituted. And Ben Wiles has just recently been replaced for the Millers by Kieran Sadlier, as the Millers will look to try and get something from this game, but it's been very, very poor, I must say, from the Millers as they try and get a late goal here as Winkslett's free kick against Sadlier wins the ball on the edge of the box, but given away, and Brentford will have the ball clear, which will find Jamal Blackman, who will lead the ball forward for the Millers, coming up towards the end of the match, in towards Freddie Ladapo for Michael Smith's flick on. Ladapo on the edge of the penalty area. Ladapo still going. Loses out. Brentford get the ball clear up towards Ivan Toney, who has struck the woodwork in the first half, and he has just won Brentford a free kick. And Brentford will look to cause a few problems for the Millers as they will come towards the end of the game as they make yet another change, as Rotherham have recently, like I say, recently took off Ben Wiles for Kieran Sadlier on the 85th minute. Brentford's change is coming off in the 88th minute, which is Jan out for Jensen in this championship clash. And Rotherham United, if it stays like this, the fight for relegation will be taken out of their hands, and Jensen now enters the field for Jan Alt in the final minute or so of the game. Brentford haven't really had to get out of second or even first gear tonight in this championship clash. The Brentford Community Stadium, which I am watching in the base studio up in Yorkshire, and back over to Matt very soon to get his first half assessment on the game between Chelsea and Real Madrid. We're into the final minute of normal time in this game as Rotherham United will look to try and get an equaliser to put pressure onto Derby. Derby currently have a 4-point lead over the Millers. The point, it will be reduced to 3 with Rotherham having 3 games remaining. Here is Michael Smith running down the left-hand side and wins the Millers a corner. Last chance saloon now for the Millers if they ought to get anything from this corner kick today. And there was a good cross from Sergi Canos, which found Brian Mbeumo to head home as Rotherham take the corner into the penalty area. Everton is there, he keeps the ball from going out for a corner and concedes the throw-in, does Ivan Toney, as Brian Mbeumo will look to have won this game for the Bees. And Rotherham United have a throw with 4 minutes of stoppage time to play. Rotherham United 4 minutes away from going falling to yet another defeat by the odd goal. Lost 1-0 on Saturdays, buzzing towards the penalty area. Smith gets the touch to it. Wing wins and he come off the Brentford man. So Rotherham have a corner, which Lewis Wing will look to take. Wing and Rotherham United may look to send up Jamal Blackman, or they're going to do that just yet. No, I don't think they are just yet. But Barlays is in there. George Ursha to score Miller's goal. Sadler in there as well, being pushed around. He's in towards the penalty area. Drops by the goalkeeper for Brentford, which is David Raya, and he claims it at the second attempt. It is still 1-0 to Brentford, coming up towards the end of the first minute of stoppage time in this game. Hopefully you're doing okay as Rotherham United try and force a last minute goal to keep the pressure on Derby, and after Derby's loss on the weekend, Willem also lost weekend. This is Rotherham's one in the game in hand. The ball is in forward on to Michael Smith. Smith on towards Barlaser, giving away. And Brentford tidy up well. And almost getting to a spot of bother. But Brentford is the ball up towards halfway. Michael Ekwa wins the header back for the Millers. And will now come on the counter attack again, but can't pick out a man. Can't pick out Sadler there. Sadler and Barlaser win the ball back for the Millers. Do they know? Barlaser does so and wins a throw as well, which Sadler will look to take. Down the line it goes from Sadler to Barlaser. Down Barlaser. Still going Barlaser. Down the line. Cuts back onto his left foot. Delivers the ball in. He's headed towards goal from Michael Aqua, the Willem United defender. And it's a save in the end. And Rotherham United, oh, they had an equaliser there. Brilliant header from Michael Aqua. Poor one and head in his hands moment there for the Miller's boss. And he thought his side got something on that. There is Rotherham United pile on the pressure. Can they get to that score? But Matt Iles has to clear quickly as Brentford came in to win the ball back. It's Michael Smith on halfway. Knocks the ball back to Ryan Giles. The Millers have to get the ball long now. If they are to get anything out of this, Ryan Giles with the ball long. Downfield is Freddie Ladapo in the corner from Freddie Ladapo. Now turns back onto Giles again. Runs down the wing from Giles in towards the box. Comes out to the edge of the box. Lewis Wing sets up. Sadly, a shot just deflected into the arms of David Reyes as we're closing him down. And the Millers will be running out of time. It looks like they're going to fall to yet another 1-0 defeat. Back to our 1-0 defeats as well. Lost 1-0 on Saturday to Barnsley. Now looks to lose another game here at the Brentford Community Stadium. Lost all the matches at the Brentford's Old Ground Griffin Park. Looks to make their first visit here off to a defeat unless they can get the ball forward. The Echo's close is blocked. And then all of a sudden it gets mixed up. And Brentford come on goal. Shot in, and it's just wide from the edge of the penalty area. And Brentford almost with a second there. The Echo all of a sudden got in and mix up. Ball brought for the Brentford man who fired just wide. The number 15 and Rotherham almost getting caught out here, but Matt Iles won the ball back now, but loses it on just towards halfway. Brentford just need to keep ball, and they've won this game now. As a ball is not back, Orlando back over to Matt for the second half of this game very, very soon, but the full-time whistle is gone at the Brentford Community Stadium, and Rotherham United 40 yet another defeat, and Rotherham United 40 yet another 1-0 defeat as well. Brentford 1, Rotherham United 0 is the final score at the Brentford Community Stadium. The Millers goal in the Millers defeat now takes relegation scrap out of their own hands. They puffed and tried to get the goal, but Brandon Buemo's goal in the first half, header in the first half, secures all 3 points for the Bees, and Brentford take a 1-0 victory over the Millers. Now back to our featured match now as we look to build up to the second half, and we'll fetch back in our match commentator Matt Iles right now. And good evening to you, Matt. And looking at that first half in Madrid, and who would you say has been the better side, and who would you say been the happier manager at the break?
Yeah, it's very interesting, isn't it? I mean, I think Chelsea have been the better side. I thought they started really, really well, and it really impressed me. They went at Real Madrid straight away, and I think Madrid were almost took aback by it, to be honest. I think they looked really shook up. You know, Pulisic and Conte have been excellent in that first half. And it could have been oh so different for Chelsea. They could have been 2-0 up inside the first quarter of an hour. And Timo Werner obviously put that chance away. It was a poor miss, you could say, from the German, but you've got to give Courtois credit to almost spread himself and make a good save. So I think Tuchel will be happy with the chance they've created, but he'll be a little bit unhappy because they probably should be going in that first half in front. So in terms of your second question, I think you probably have to say maybe Zinedine Zidane. You know, they're probably maybe a little bit fortunate to be level. It took a real good team goal to almost get them level from that well-worked set piece, well-worked corner, if you like, from that Marcelo cross. So I think Zidane will be the happier, but I don't think Tuchel will be too disheartened. I think he will take great encouragement from the fact that Chelsea have, gone away to Real Madrid. They've had a lot of space. They've had some good opportunities, and they will. You'd expect to get plenty more in that second half.
Yeah, say they'll look to get plenty more in that second half. If you're Thomas Tuchel with the people that they've got on the bench for Chelsea this evening, if they were to stay 1-1 at this moment in time and Chelsea were looking to get a winner, would you see any of the changes happening? And if so, who would you see coming on, Matt?
Well, I think obviously the two that stand out for me are probably Kai Havertz and Hakim Ziyech. I think obviously there was a lot of talk that maybe Havertz was going to start. If Timo Werner doesn't start well in sort of the maybe 15, 20 minutes of the second half, you could possibly see him be substituted in place of Havertz. And I think it just shows the attacking quality that Chelsea have got, that we're not even discussing Olivier Giroud, who's obviously got 11 goals this season, and Tammy Abraham, who's got 12, albeit he's only just come back from a relatively, long injury, you could say. So I think they'd be the two changes that Tuchel will look at. Maybe if he wanted a bit more pace in the wing-back area, he could put maybe Hudson-Odoi on, or, even Reece James for that matter. So they've got so many different options that it's going to give really Thomas Tuchel a headache, I think.
Yes, it's going to give him an headache. Looking at the Real Madrid, so I'd say if Chelsea were to get in front, say in the next 5 or so minutes, on the bench for Real Madrid, who would you see the best one coming on for Real Madrid if they were to get something from this game, Matt?
Well, you look at Eden Hazard. I think obviously he's the standout name. Obviously, it's not quite worked out from Real Madrid, but as they say, there's a time to shine, and hopefully Hazard can do that against his old club. Also, as well, you look at Marco Asensio. I think he's a really talented player. I think, to be fair, in that first half, I thought Vinicius did really well. He tried to stretch the lines. He's obviously up front with Karim Benzema. I think what they've got to do more importantly is they've got to try and, get the centre-backs out of their position and create the space to try and get the midfielders to run in from, which, to be fair, Modric didn't really do. So I think maybe they've lacked that. So obviously, in terms of that respect, I think maybe Isco could be a perfect example to bring on. I think Hazard will come on at some point. I'd be amazed if Asensio doesn't come on. So I think they'd be the three stand-ups. But you also look at that as well. Rodrigo could easily come on as well in place of Vinicius, who has also been booked as well. So they'd probably be the four players he'd probably look at to change the game for him. Should it be, 1-1, or should they be behind it at all in this second half?
Yes, and we'll be handing back over to you, ready for second half in a couple of minutes. Just seen the goal from Pulisic now. Fantastic, well-worked goal from Christian Pulisic to put Chelsea into that lead, as you described. And then just seeing the goal now from Benzema. That's a fantastic strike from the Real Madrid striker. Ramos, as you can see in the stands, celebrating from the stands. And so it'll be interesting to see ready for the second half. I can see Chelsea players and captain Azpilicueta and Thibaut Courtois in the stands. So what I'm going to do, I'll hand back over to your match commentator, Matt Iles, in a couple of minutes. He's be back with us in a couple of minutes, ready for the second half. I can see the players in the tunnel. I can see Real Madrid players there, Chelsea players as well, the officials ready and waiting to go. It'll be interesting to see how Real Madrid and Chelsea do get on in this second half, and very interesting to see as well. So we'll be handing back over to Matt in just a couple of minutes, ready for second half commentary. As Real Madrid and Chelsea will slowly follow the officials back out onto the field in the Champions League semi-final first leg of the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano. And we'll be handing back across to Matt in just a moment or two. And he's by now, so let's hand over to your match commentator for the second half as Real Madrid made their way out onto the field of play. Closely followed by Chelsea. Is Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1, back at full time. And he's back in the company of your match commentator, Matt Iles.
Thank you, Ross. It was the first half that was intriguing, and it certainly now sets the tone for this second 45. Remember, this is Chelsea's 8th semi-final in the Champions League, the most of any English side since the competition began all the way in 1992. Of course, this is their first one in 7 years as well. And of course, it was that semi-final appearance 7 years ago in which they were beaten by Spanish opposition and Real Madrid's arch city rivals Atletico. So they're hoping for a better time against Spanish opposition this time round. And if that first half was something to go by, I think they did okay. But the problem was they really should have gone in at the break in front rather than level as the second half is underway. Thrown forward by Azpilicueta now to Werner. Here is Pulisic. Gets away from Kroos. Challenged well there by Casemiro. Here's Antonio Rudiger. Chelsea on the front foot in the opening 30 seconds here. Lovely turn by Mason Mount. Crossing on his left foot, but it's straight into the hands of Thibaut Courtois. We'll just go through the two sides for you now very, very quickly. Real Madrid line up with Thibaut Courtois in goal. Back three of Militao, Varane and Nacho. And then it's Carvajal, Casemiro, Kroos and Marcelo, with Modric playing just in, well, it looks like in the first half it was Modric playing almost as the number 10, but he's dropped deeper as it looks like maybe Toni Kroos is going to be the furthest one forward. So it'll be Modric and Casemiro, two older midfielders, with Kroos as the number 10, and then Marcelo making up that midfield, and then Benzema leading the line with Vinicius. Chelsea in their usual 3-4-1-2 under Thomas Tuchel. They line up with Mendy in goal, Rudiger, Silva, Christensen the back three, Azpilicueta, Jorginho, Conte, Chilwell, Mount, Werner, Pulisic as the three. And both sides subs: Andre Lunin, Diego Altuve, Alvaro Odriozola, Miguel Gutierrez, Isco, Antonio Blanco, Marco Asensio, Rodrigo, Sergio Arribas, Mariano and Eden Hazard. And Chelsea have Kepa, Willy Caballero, Alonso, Kurt Zouma, Reece James, Emerson, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Billy Gilmore, Havertz, Ziyech, Abraham and Giroud on the bench. We are 2 minutes in. It is Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. As Benzema tries to give it back to Nacho. Here is Jorginho. Now here's Cesar Azpilicueta. Down the line from Conte to Christian Pulisic. It was a real handful in that first half for Chelsea. Azpilicueta caught in two minds there. Tries to give it back to Pulisic, but it's defended well by Rafael Varane. Given away, though, by Marcelo. Now Conte to Timo Werner. Here's an opportunity for Werner. Well charged down by Eder Militao. And it's a corner to Chelsea. But Real Madrid very, very guilty of maybe playing one pass too many in and around their final 20 yards of their own half there, as Werner managed to get his shot away and get a corner. First one of this second half. Mount's deliveries haven't quite been on it so far. Could that be about to change? He goes short to Jorginho. Just gets his body up away from Vinicius. Mount with the cross, which is overhit and has actually rolled out for a goal kick, I think. Nacho went down, so I presume that might have been a free kick given on Nacho. So that doesn't come to anything. Actually, a goal kick, I should say. I was right the first time there. Here is now Militao, the former Porto defender. Of course, the Portuguese champions were beaten by Chelsea in the quarterfinals to set up this tie with Real Madrid. Now Nacho tries to give it back to Toni Kroos, but there's two Chelsea players, Conte and Azpilicueta, there to stop him there. Here's Modric, looks up, plays it down the left for Vinicius to chase. He's got a lot of pace. Thiago Silva comes across and calmly deals with that forward ball by Luka Modric. He did very, very well there. Thiago Silva showed all his experience that he's accumulated with the likes of AC Milan and PSG over the last decade. Here is Antonio Rudiger now for Chelsea. Jorginho. Now it's with Andreas Christensen. Pulisic. Jorginho once more runs straight into the path of Toni Kroos. And that deflection of Kroos has gone to Vinicius. Now is Karim Benzema. He'll go for goal, but it's a rather wild attempt by Karim Benzema. And it's gone out of play for a Chelsea goal kick. He lines one up. Benzema right on the edge of the box. He's just tried to go right into the top corner, hasn't he, with that? But he's put too much on it. He was not in the best position, to be fair, body-wise, in terms of getting the shot away, and gets that one off target. Mendy with the short kick. Here is now Andreas Christensen, the Dane. Decides to go for a little venture on his own and tries to play that curved ball towards Timo Werner, but Thibaut Courtois knew exactly where that ball was going and comes out of his goal to claim it. Here's Benzema now on the right in Chelsea's half, and he has won a throne for his team. We've played 5 minutes of this second half. It is Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1 at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano, of course named after their great Argentine legend who played in the 50s and the 60s. Was a prominent figure at Real Madrid right until the very end, of course, in his death, which of course happened a few years ago. He was always present at their big Galacticos unveilings, wasn't he? I remember he was there for when the likes of Zinedine Zidane signed David Beckham and so forth. Here is Antonio Rudiger. Now Ben Chilwell. Rudiger has it once more. The rain of the first half has now well and truly stayed away for this second half. It was absolutely tipping it down this evening, and both sides certainly had a drying off period in that interval, no doubt about it. And the rain, as I said, has stayed away. Here's Mason Mount. Chilwell to Mount again. Now Pulisic goes over, but does play it back to a blue shirt. Here's Rudiger now, just trots forward in the Real Madrid half. Werner put under pressure, but Rudiger still has the ball at his feet. As Chelsea are just keeping the ball to themselves as Rudiger looks forward for Azpilicueta. Does get the flick onto Pulisic, who's behind him, and he's clipped by Marcelo. Chelsea free kick. Yeah, they've just almost played it very, very slow, Chelsea, in terms of their tempo and their build-up in this early part of this second half, haven't they? You could see Rudiger taking a long time on the ball to, play it forward, and that might be just the theme, because they, were trying to be very, very quick in that first half with their play, and it did catch Madrid out. And I think they might have been going down a different path potentially here. Marcelo with the ball, looking for Karim Benzema, and he's very quick off his feet to keep this attack alive. And he was forced into a real wide area there by two Chelsea players, Ben Chilwell and Antonio Rudiger. And he tried to knock it back to Carvajal, but he put a lot of power behind it. And instead of trying to hit it back to Carvajal, he's actually hit it out for a Chelsea throw-in. As Eden Hazard is warming up down the side. How long will it be before we see him? Of course, he was given praise by his manager. And the opposing manager this week, Thomas Tuchel, said that he is, of course, a player that can really hurt teams. And Zinedine Zidane said that he will be needed. His impact in this game will be something that he'll look upon. And that they will need him, not just for tonight, but for the next leg next Wednesday in West London, in which he will, of course, return to for the first time as a Real Madrid player since he made that move nearly 2 years ago now. Here's Karim Benzema. Now it's with Nacho. Plays it forward to Marcelo. Benzema to Marcelo once more. Now is Casemiro. Little gentle flick to Modric. Nearly finds Vinicius through the middle. But Thiago Silva with a vital interception there to deny that ball going on through to Vinicius. But Modric is starting to get a little bit more space now in this second half, which we are coming up to 10 minutes of. Still remains Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. You're listening to this on Football Commentary Live, the home of alternative commentary. The second semi-final tomorrow. PSG and Manchester City is being brought to you by Mike Arneman. Of course, it is an 8 p.m. kickoff, and on Thursday we bring you UEFA Europa League action. Of course, both kicking off at 8 o'clock. You've got a choice of Arsenal against Villarreal as Mikel Arteta comes up against his predecessor Unai Emery, and of course Manchester United take on Roma, and that is the game that I'll be bringing you from Old Trafford as players stop because of a foul on Christian Pulisic. He just tried to get away from Marcelo there, but he didn't actually catch him. I think it was more just the sliding challenge and the lunge from the frizzy-haired Brazilian, which is, of course, an iconic haircut. It is pretty easy to spot in a crowd, Marcelo, I must admit, that hairstyle that he has. Here is Rudiger looking up. And has done that often tonight. He did that for Christian Pulisic's goal in the 14th minute. And since then, he's tried it on a few occasions and not been able to repeat the feat. Christensen with the clearance forward. Varane watches it bounce. Werner gets in front of him, and then Varane has to clear that out for a throw-in. A tall French defender up against Timo Werner. There is a considerable height difference, but one thing about Werner is he's not afraid to get up and jump and make life hard for his defensive marker. As Piliqueta with the throw. Gets it back from Pulisic. Trying to give it to Christensen, but it's a little bit too short. Now Vinicius gets hold of the ball. Gives it to Casemiro on the inside. Conte fouls him. Danny Mackley, the ref says play on. Modric slips and he tries to play it to Karim Benzema, who went all the way out to the left-hand side to receive that pass, but it's cut out well. Now Chelsea come forward with Ben Chilwell, Jorginho, N'Golo Conte. Jorginho to Mason Mount. Now Ben Chilwell. Mount to Jorginho. Options are scarce for him at the moment. Has to go back to Silva. He looks for the diagonal. In behind to Chilwell, who goes down. And Danny Carvajal did well to stand up there and not foul his man. And it's gone out of play for a goal kick, which Real Madrid take quickly. As Casemiro gives it now to Eder Militao. Now it's with Nacho. He's got a bit of room to bring the ball forward as he now is inside Chelsea's half. Marcelo. Both sides are having a rather more patient start to this opening quarter of this second half, as both are just trying to be intent on having the lion's share of possession amongst themselves. Here is Varane. Now to Militao as they play the ball around the back amongst one another. He's had a good game tonight as Militao. Got the assist for Benzema's volley. And the equaliser in the game. Modric now to Rafa Varane. Jorginho is actually the furthest forward Chelsea player there in terms of trying to close the Madrid players down at the back. Now Courtois. Now Varane. Tries to get Vinicius moving. And he certainly did do that, but it was an overhit ball for the Brazilian. But there is that shout here for a penalty. There was a little shove by Carvajal. Whether or not it was actually hard enough to give a penalty is another thing. But this is a strong run by Conte. And as he brushed Kroos off there, the ball just cannoned off the back of his heel. But the referee, Danny Macklis, decided to bring play back and book Toni Kroos for that, as he was intent on not allowing N'Golo Conte to run any more forward with the ball. Yeah, he does clip his shin, and to be fair, Conte stays on his feet, just tries to keep going. But of course, when the ball just sort of bounces off the back of his heel, it was a pretty easy decision for the referee to go and pull that back. Chelsea free kick. Chilwell and Mount both around this. Vinicius is the only man in the wall for Real Madrid. Modric is just sort of loitering around there. I don't know whether he's going to actually join a part of this war. I think he's just going to stay in the same position he's in. Chilwell was going to take it, left it. Mount delivered it on his right foot, ran away, only as far as the edge of the box with Toni Kroos. He's got to drive it away. And of course, he had no one around him. It was blocked off to pass behind him, and there was a man blocking him off in front. And of course, Rudiger going into the back of him was enough for Kroos to go down and win a free kick, which he, I think, is no doubt going to be delighted with in that situation that he found himself in. First quarter of this second half played. Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1 in this first leg of this Champions League semi-final. The other one, of course, between Paris Saint-Germain and Manchester City is coming up tomorrow on Football Commentary Live. Here is Vinicius. But the flag is raised. And it will be a Chelsea free kick. Well, it doesn't look offside to me there, actually, Vinicius. It does look like maybe Rudiger's feet are actually playing him on there, it must be said. Christensen clears it into the air, and then as Pinaqueta makes a real mess of that, forces Thiago Silva into a bit of work in which he actually clears it forward and manages to actually not shank it. Marcelo flicks it to Vinicius, who's down the left-hand touchline. Back now to Luka Modric. Now to Toni Kroos. Nacho, Modric. Thought about putting the cross in, but instead decides to keep the ball at his feet. Taken on Cesar Azpilicueta. Good challenge by the Chelsea captain. Real Madrid throw. And Cesar Azpilicueta has just pulled up here. Maybe a spot of cramp just creeping in now for him. That was something that didn't feel right to Azpilicueta there. Maybe it was just his ankle there in the turf. As he is back now up on his feet and he's okay. And now we will be seeing Eden Hazard tonight in this encounter. Ball in by Vinicius is one that can't pick out Karim Benzema and goes out for a goal kick. And Chelsea are making some changes from the bench. Hakim Ziyech, who you expected was going to come on. And Reece James is also going to be entering the field of play. So we'll wait to see who they both will be coming on for. Not the best return by Pulisic to Conte, but he, wins it off Vinicius with a really good, clean challenge. He's had another very good game as N'Golo Conte, and really has found his form that he did a few years ago. Here come Madrid, though, with Toni Kroos, Modric, Carvajal. Flicked forward to Benzema on the chest, and now looks to his left as he spun away in the middle. Looks for Marcelo. Azpilicueta on the chest to Christensen. Now he's Conte. Azpilicueta now has it. Christensen, the Dane, to Jorginho. Christensen again. He'll bring that just a couple of yards. As Chelsea do very well to play their way out from the back. Now Thiago Silva. Second half that has had very few chances, which was a surprise given what the first half was like, especially in Chelsea's case, in which they had a lot more opportunities. They had a real golden one with Timo Werner, which he missed and has done the majority of the time that he's played for Chelsea this season, missed those big chances at big moments. And then a few minutes later, Christian Pulisic managed to put the ball in the net, in which he got past Thibaut Courtois, despite the Belgian going to ground to try and stop him. But he blasted attempt, hit Rafael Varane, went into the net, and then it was cancelled out by Karim Benzema's volley, which he smashed in beyond Edouard Mendy. Here is Benzema, now to Carvajal. Tries to give it to Marcelo, but Pulisic is there. And Marcelo was fouled Pulisic, and he can have no complaints about this yellow card that's coming his way. And confirmation that booking has now been shown to Marcelo. Yeah, it all stemmed from a really overhit ball from Carvajal. He looks up, tries to find Marcelo, completely rushed, wasn't it? And he was nowhere near the Brazilian left back. And then Pulisic stepped in and brought the ball forward and was fouled. Vinicius goes off. And now on comes Eden Hazard for Real Madrid. And then he said for Chelsea then. So he replaces the Brazilian who, of course, was booked. So here's the double alteration now for Chelsea. Pulisic is off, which I have to say is a surprise, given he's probably been the most liveliest out of him, Mount and Werner tonight. So Hakim Ziyech, who knows all about knocking Real Madrid out of a two-legged affair, comes on. Of course, he was part of that Ajax side 2 seasons ago that dumped Real Madrid out of the Champions League. And now Timo Werner has been replaced by Kai Havertz. So from one German to the other, Kai Havertz is on. And then there'll be another alteration, in fact, as Cesar Azpilicueta's night has come to an end. And Reece James comes on. So 3 changes. Azpilicueta, Pulisic and Werner off. Reece James, Ziyech and Kai Havertz on for the visitors. As, of course, the use of 3 subs has come into effect there by Tuchel. Of course, still has the chance to make 2 more subs, such as the luxury of the Champions League this season. And you have the opportunity to make 5 substitutions. Chilwell knocks the ball forward at the first time of asking. Here is Ziyech. Gets it away now to Mason Mount. He now plays it to Kai Havertz. Now he gives it to another sub in Hakim Ziyech. Chilwell to Havertz. Now Jorginho's taking the captain's armband in Azpilicueta's absence. James to N'Golo Conte. Jorginho. Havertz. Jorginho again. 4 Chelsea players have sort of stood in a line there, just situated around 20 yards from Real Madrid's area there. And they were just stood there waiting for the ball to come to their feet rather than just try and go in behind and catch the Real Madrid defence out, like what Christian Pulisic did in the first 14 minutes of this game, in which, of course, he scored that crucial away goal for Chelsea. 68 minutes gone here, 22 minutes to play. Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1 in the first leg of this Champions League semi-final. Here's Kai Havertz. Now he gives it to Ziyech. Chilwell. Mount on his right foot. Then he shifts onto his left, blocked by Varane. Good block as well. There was shouts of a handball, but Danny Mackley, the Dutch referee, not interested in them. Here's Ziyech as Chelsea keep it in a very dangerous area of the pitch. Rudiger now to Andreas Christensen. Jorginho. Mason Mount. Now Chilwell. Ziyech. Chilwell gets it back. They just need that killer pass, don't they? That's going to get that opportunity one-on-one, perhaps with Thibaut Courtois. Rudiger wants someone to come short for it. Havertz gets it from Jorginho. Now he plays it out to Reece James, who crosses in. Not a bad delivery, but Varane's underneath it. Conte then heads it out of play for a Real Madrid throw-in. And that was a good defensive line there by Madrid. They stayed alongside each other. They very much stayed in tandem with one another, and they just didn't get pulled out. They just stayed concentrated, stayed disciplined on that occasion. And Carvajal's pass forward has brushed the arm of Chilwell, which is something that he's bemused about. As Real Madrid have got a free kick. Remember, the second Champions League semi-final will be covered on Football Commentary Live tomorrow, the home of Alternative Commentary. Mike Arneman will be bringing you that from that game at the Parc des Princes, as Paris Saint-Germain take on Manchester City, of course, fresh from winning the Carabao Cup on Sunday for the 4th year in a row. Havertz nutmegs Marcelo, easy for me to say, as Chelsea now have it in possession. All the way back now with Thiago Silva. Rudiger's made space to receive it, and he gets picked out by Thiago Silva. Good run by Rudiger. Chilwell, he actually was running forward there, Rudiger, unopposed to be fair. Here's Jorginho. James has made the run in behind Marcelo, and he just couldn't quite get picked out. The idea was there. You know exactly what Jorginho was trying, but the execution was off. As Thomas Tuchel urges his team on as now the rain lashes down once more in the Spanish capital. Militao knocks it forward. Mount tried to get more on it than what he did. He almost just brushed the side of his head. Now it's Hakim Ziyech as Chelsea come forward. He goes on his left-hand side, Ziyech. Low cross in, looked for Havertz, who made the run through the middle rather than at the back post. And it went well beyond him and out for a goal kick, which Courtois takes early. Nacho to Eden Hazard. Marcelo, lovely back heel to Hazard. Christensen stands up well. And Reece James can't keep that in, as Real Madrid have got a throw, which Hazard takes quickly, but Danny McAlee won't allow that to be taken quickly. So far, Thomas Tuchel is keeping up his unbeaten run against Zinedine Zidane. He won one of the 4 matches that they've played. The other 3 have been draws. All of them have come as Paris Saint-Germain boss. Tuchel is a manager who very much thinks about the opponent for the next game, doesn't he? Not afraid to change things and move players about. That's what has really been so interesting about him, is his rotation policy at Chelsea, in which he's seen a good performance one week and then he's decided to make quite a few changes in the next game, and he's not afraid to do so. It is an element of keeping the squad happy, which you can't say is a bad thing to do. Havertz gives it to Ziyech. Can't get away from Militao, who came across and made a good sliding challenge, and as an added bonus, is given away a throw-in rather than a corner. So well played to Militao there. Yeah, Ziyech just tried to go on the inside of Militao, and he just sprinted all the way back. I think he's actually tried to keep that in play, but has actually been unsuccessful. But you can't knock him for trying. Yeah, you can tell he hasn't actually kept that one in, given by his reaction as he just smashed the ball with his hand into the advertising hoardings right by that corner flag. Will be Mount who's going to take this for Chelsea. Danny McAlee halts it for a little while as he spots a little bit of pushing and shoving going on. In by Mount. Rudiger climbing. Militao underneath it. Ziyech with the ball in. And Courtois takes that within his grasp. Real Madrid have always gone short from kicks and throws that I have actually noticed this evening. They have had more possession in this second half. More ball retention, which I think is certainly been an improvement. They haven't allowed a lot more opportunities for Chelsea. Also, they could probably say that they could have maybe created just a little bit more. Militao gets it from Modric's throw. Courtois gets it from Militao. Now Modric, always looking at playing the forward pass, Luka Modric. If he has to go back, it almost makes him feel unhappy, doesn't it? Nice interchange between Benzema and Casemiro. Holds off Conte. Good challenge by Rudiger. There looks like Real Madrid are going to be making another 2 substitutions. Looks like we're going to be seeing Alvaro Odriozola come on. And free kick's actually been given for a foul. As Toni Kroos is now going to take this for Real Madrid as we're entering now the final 15 minutes of this first leg of this Champions League first leg game. In by Kroos. Took under control by Varane, and he's done that very, very well, in fact. Just been ushered out to the left-hand side. Just wants to get something and gets a corner as it's gone off Christensen there. He whipped it in deep, did Toni Kroos. Varane. That was an absolutely superb touch by the Real Madrid centre-back. But unfortunately for him, he was well away from goal, and it meant that Chelsea were able to get around him quickly and force him wide. But they've got a corner to defend here, Chelsea. It will be Kroos who's going to take. Not a bad delivery. Nacho was competing for it. Away by James. Benzema drills it back in. It's gone to the edge of the box. Marcelo will shoot. Jorginho blocks it. It's gone to Nacho. Now is Eden Hazard. Modric has to now go to the left with Kroos, who will come in on his right to cross. Decides to go along the floor to Modric, who was alongside him. Casemiro now to the right. Just waits to think about, puts the ball in. Well blocked by Reece James. Now Carvajal tries to play it to Militao, but it's overhit for the Real Madrid defender, and it's gone out of play for a Chelsea throw. But they're just showing the replays of this Benzema strike. It hit Reece James. Had he not been there, Reece James, you would have imagined that's going to go in. So off goes Dani Carvajal, and Alvaro Odriozola is going to come on. Had a loan last year at Bayern Munich and even won the Champions League under Hansi Flick. And Marco Asensio will come on in place of Marcelo. Of course, Asensio, who burst onto the scene a few years ago, scoring the final 4 years ago against Juventus. Got the last goal in winning Cardiff. As, of course, Real Madrid triumphed to a 12th Champions League, and then the year after they won it again, in which Gareth Bale scored that wonderful overhead kick, and it was that win against Liverpool, in which Loris Karius made 2 massive blunders. Has Conte's ball found Havertz? Yes, it has, but it just sort of slowed down as it reached the German, and Varane has committed a foul on Havertz, and it's a free kick to Chelsea. Just in front of the edge of the box. When it comes to Havertz here, and it just slows down, really, doesn't it? He just has to try and get a free kick. Varane just sort of steps on his foot there, and it's a pretty easy decision for the referee to make. Well, this is certainly a free kick that is a shooting attempt. You'd think Mount, Ziyech, and Reece James are the 3 players discussing this. Have they got something up their sleeve? Have they got a plan, or are they just going to be maybe discussing who's actually going to take this? And in the process of this free kick being taken and the ball being, Rafa Varane has been booked. He's the 3rd Madrid player to go in the book. They've even got the man on the floor, which looks like that's going to be Alvaro Odriozola. It will be Ziyech, who takes it over the wall. It's on target, but it's dealt with comfortably by Thibaut Courtois. Yeah, he goes for the curler, doesn't he? It's over the wall, over Benzema and Varane's head, but Courtois just gets across and deals with that well. Standard bit of goalkeeping for the Belgian. 1-1 it is between Real Madrid and Chelsea. It's a result that, if it stays like this, would favour Chelsea in the second leg, but you would certainly say that it is not over by any means. And it is too close to call it. These semi-finals, before they even were played, do have that feeling about them, don't they? That both sides could beat each other in both these ties. Remember, it's actually 3 of the 4 semi-finalists were 3 sides in this proposed Super League, which, of course, was something that Florentino Perez is still very adamant is going to happen, even though it has been put to one side for now. He, of course, has stated that the clubs that joined it signed a legal binding contract, but, of course, that didn't stop the 6 English clubs and Atletico and the 3 Italian ones of Inter, AC Milan and Juventus all dropping out, which has still left Real Madrid and Barca in it, but, of course, that does feel like that is dead in the water for now. Here's Conte to Christensen. Maybe both sides now are starting to realise that a draw from this isn't so bad. Maybe they don't just want to take the necessary risk to go and win it. That's nice between Ziyech and Conte. Casemiro certainly had an arm on Conte's shoulder, and nothing has even been given by the referee, Danny McAlee. Ziyech then went down under a crunching challenge by Casemiro. There was nothing wrong with that from the Brazilian, who's a player who has become a real important head in this Madrid team under Zinedine Zidane. Eder Militao. Modric. Plays a lovely ball on the outside of his foot to Rafael Varane. We're into the final 9 minutes. Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. Remember, the European action doesn't stop on Football Commentary Live. We'll be bringing you both UEFA Europa League first leg semi-finals. Of course, both kicking off at 8. You've got a choice whether you can listen to Mike Arneman, who will be bringing you Villarreal against Arsenal, or you can listen to me as Manchester United take on Roma at Old Trafford. Here is the cross that comes in from Asensio, but he's offside. As he got that pass from Nacho. Yeah, it does look very, very tight, actually. It doesn't actually look like Christensen's playing him on. I was about to say he looks offside there, but I haven't seen that. It does feel like he was actually being played onside there. Mendy slowly putting the ball in position to restart the game as we are in to the final 8 minutes. Mendy just telling his defence to just push up as he's going for a big boot. Gets right under it. Does the Senegalese goalkeeper Havertz wins the header, but he can only head it straight to Casemiro, then heads it to Jorginho. Good turn by Conte. Away from Asensio. Now away from Nacho. He's gone down to the right-hand side. Cross goes in. Militao away. Conte gets underneath the second ball. Tries to flick it away from Asensio, which he did, but Kroos was in his way. He then sends it forward. Christensen does really well to take that under control in a real tight space. Now is Rudiger for Chelsea. Here's Mason Mount. Chilwell. Rudiger now to Jorginho. Chilwell looking to get in behind. Flicks it to Mount. A little bit too short for him as Modric comes forward with it. But he can only touch it out of play for a Chelsea throw, the 35-year-old. Chilwell takes the throw. Goes back now to Antonio Rudiger. Chelsea, remember, still have the opportunity to make 2 more substitutions, as do Real Madrid. Could we potentially be seeing Tammy Abraham, Chelsea's top goal scorer, on to the field of play? Or could we even see Olivier Giroud? Here is Ziyech. Can't get away from Casemiro. And sees the ball going through to Courtois. Well, Chelsea have won in Spain already in this Champions League this season. They did beat Sevilla at the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan, in which they won by 4-0 with Olivier Giroud scoring all 4 of the goals that day. And of course, they played in Spain again when they faced Porto because of the government restrictions and the mutation that both countries are having. It meant that the game had to be played at Sevilla, not the Ramon Sanchez Pizjuan. Well, it actually was played there, in fact. I beg your pardon. And of course, Chelsea won the away game of that 2-0 against Porto and then lost the home game in the second leg. It was a really good goal from Mehdi Taremi that won the second leg for Porto, but it was ultimately not enough for the Portuguese side to progress to the semi-final and set this up against Real Madrid. 1-1 here as we're entering the final 5 minutes. It does just have this feel that it is going to stay this scoreline. And that Chelsea are going to take a draw back to West London with them. And of course, set up a really interesting, mouth-watering second leg in 8 days' time. Chilwell outmuscles Hazard to let the ball go out for a throw-in. Here's Havertz. Loses out to fellow German Toni Kroos. Here's Hazard. Goes out to the right. Crosses in. Away by Christensen. Kroos. First time left-footed ball to Nacho. Now Asensio. It's a good ball to Odriozola. Left by him though for Hazard. Just toying with his opposition. Plays it through to Odriozola. And then it's defended well by Chelsea on that occasion. And then Chilwell just sends that out for a throw-in. It will be the Real Madrid number 19, Alvaro Odriozola, who's going to take this. Came on in place of Carvajal in the game. Toni Kroos goes to the right-hand side with Casemiro's gone out there. Real Madrid throw. Well, ever since Pulisic and Werner both went off, Chelsea's energy and pace up front has just fallen by the wayside, really, hasn't it? They have almost slowed down since Ziyech and Havertz came on. Havertz, of course, has been tried as a false nine under Tuchel many times. The one game he really shone when he played there was when they played Everton, wasn't it? And he was man of the match and really produced an eye-catching display that made you think why Chelsea paid big money for him in the summer. Here is Kroos. Looks out to the right again, as he so often does. Benzema's out there to get it under control. Look for Modric, but Odriozola's there. Modric now has it. Comes inside on his left foot. Plays it along the floor to Toni Kroos, who lines it up and shoots. It's blocked by Conte. And then it went all the way through. Mendy dived at his near post and to his right. And the ball went well off course there. So difficult for Mendy to deal with that in the end it went beyond him and out for a Real Madrid corner. But Conte closing Toni Kroos down almost led to a freak goal for Real Madrid on another day. Kroos will take this corner for Madrid. Gets it in there. He's headed on by Varane and it's gone wide. I think guys took a touch off a Chelsea player in there. He really fizzed that in there, didn't he? Varane just drifted away from Chilwell. It got a touch off a Chelsea player. It was Chilwell's head, actually. He didn't know anything about it as it went off the other side of him. And out for another Real Madrid corner, this time from the right-hand side. Kroos to deliver. Goes in again. Headed on by Benzema. There is Casemiro, flicks it on, but he can only flick it on straight into the hands of Edouard Mendy, who goes down on the ball and then rolls it out to Antonio Rudiger, who's hustling forward, really good run, and then he's blocked off there by Odriozola, and that's another yellow card for a Real Madrid player, and Odriozola is the latest player to go into Danny McAleese notebook. It was really good from Antonio Rudiger. He just decided to just venture on his own, didn't he? He got away from one, and then Odriozola was just doing his level best to stop him and just completely blocked him off. And in any situation like that, free kick is always going to get given, isn't it? I think that might go down as a pretty good foul from Odriozola, because Rudiger is someone who has got a lot of pace behind him, and had he got away from his man, it would have definitely have seen Rudiger get toward the left-hand corner of the box and no doubt probably put that ball into a dangerous area. As he's now receiving treatment as we're almost up to the 90 minutes. We're going to see Rodrigo come on, another young Brazilian talent that Real Madrid paid big money for. Signed from Santos a few years ago. Very much followed the same path as fellow Brazilian Vinicius did, of course. The only difference is he signed from Fluminense, did Vinicius, as Rodrigo signed from Santos. But with this break in play, it is time to reflect and just tell you what is happening in this game. It is Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1. Listening to it on Football Commentary Live, name of alternative commentary. Chelsea took the lead 14 minutes in. Christian Pulisic scoring after he managed to get away from Thibaut Courtois and then just strike it goalwards. It bounced off Rafael Varane and into the net that gave Chelsea the lead, and more importantly, got them an away goal that they came to Madrid to get. And then, with around 29 minutes on the clock, Karim Benzema scored his 28th goal of the season. He got it from a Militao flick, took it on his chest, and then smashed it in beyond Eduard Mendy. And as I was speaking about what has been happening in this game, 3 more minutes have been added on. We're 1 minute in to the 3 minutes. So I think we're going to be playing an extra minute here because of the stoppage to Rudiger, who had a few minutes on the ground receiving treatment from his physio. Chilwell to Jorginho. Here is now Rudiger. Rodrigo is still waiting to come on for the final 2 and a bit minutes. Jorginho can't find Mount. Cut out well by Odriozola. Now Modric. Blocked off by Rudiger, who was blocked off by Odriozola just moments ago, then decides to do it for himself as he stopped Modric there. So now Real Madrid will make their change that they've been looking to do for at least a minute or so, as Rodrigo's going to come on in place of Karim Benzema, whose night is done. Got himself another goal and is replaced by the Brazilian Rodrigo. I think they're just going to keep him fresh, I think, for the game in 8 days' time. And, of course, they have got a game, both these sides in between. Real Madrid face Osasuna at home on the 1st of May. And then Chelsea, of course, entertain Fulham in the West London derby at home as well. So both sides will be hoping that they can warm up for the second leg with a win. Of course, hope that no one goes and gets any injuries. Reece James crosses in and has crossed it all the way out of play for a Real Madrid throw. But that looks like that might be it. Honours even in the first leg. Both will probably take this. Yes, Chelsea have got the slightest of advantages given the away goal, but you can never rule out Real Madrid in big European games. Throw taken by Odriozola to Rodrigo. And he wins a free kick as I think Rudiger was pulling on his shirt. And that might be a booking for Ben Chilwell there with a little petulant kick. Danny McAleese says to not do that again, as he won't be so lenient. Here is Nacho then. Maybe Real Madrid are going for the winner here. Down the line to Asensio. Christensen knocks it out for a throw-in. Danny McAleese has a look at his watch. Nacho will take the throw. And that will be it for the first leg at the Estadio Alfredo Di Stefano. 1-1 it's finished between Real Madrid and Chelsea. And it sets up a very intriguing contest in West London in 8 days' time. Christian Pulisic got Chelsea in front inside 14 minutes that saw Chelsea deservedly take the lead after a real bright start to this first leg semi-final between the two. And then Karim Benzema scored a volley which he took off his chest beautifully to smash it beyond Eduard Mendy. The second half didn't quite have the same impact as the first half, as both sides cancelled each other out, and you almost felt with around 20 minutes to go, both were content settling for a draw. It's half-time in the tie between Real Madrid and Chelsea. It is finished here in the first leg in Madrid. Real Madrid won, Chelsea won.
Thank you very much, Matt, and we'll run you through some of the other scores from the games this evening. As you have just said, it finished Real Madrid 1, Chelsea 1, Brentford 1, Rotherham United 0 in the Championship. This evening, Rotherham's fate is now out of their own hands following that 1-0 defeat this evening. League 1, Accrington Stanley 3, Portsmouth 3, AC Wimbledon 3, Rochdale 3, Burton 5, Fleetwood 2, Charlton 2, Crewe 2, Shrewsbury 0, Lincoln 1, Sunderland 0, Blackpool 1, Peterborough 2, Doncaster Rovers 2, League 2, Newport County 4, Scunthorpe 0, Bradford 0, Salford 1, Cheltenham 1, Carlisle United 1, Cheltenham are promoted. Exeter City 3, Grimsby Town 2, Grimsby are relegated, Forest Green Rovers 0, Barrow 2. In the National League, I'll just run through these National League matches and then we'll round up with the match that we've covered tonight. Finished FC Halifax Town 1, Woking 0, Kings Lynn Town 0, Stockport County 4, Sutton United 1, Barney 0, Torquay United 2, Aldershot 1, Yeovil Town 3, Solihull Moors 0, Bromley 1, Chesterfield 2, Eastleigh 2, Notts County 0, and Maidenhead United 0, Weymouth 1. If you want to find out what other matches have been played this evening, you can check it out on your local providers as well. As Mike Holloman says in the live chat here, he says Grimsby are relegated from League 2 tonight, and he says Southend are pretty much down as well. Southend not played today, play on Saturday to Southend United in League 2 with a game against Barrow, who won tonight and stayed in the division, and then they go on the final day of the season on May the 8th. Well, May the 8th they play, and they will play Newport County on the final day of the season. Southend need to pick up maximum points in both of those if they have a chance of staying in the division. Going back to tonight's match between Real Madrid and Chelsea, we've still got your match commentator Matt Iles with us. And Matt, you saw the full game this evening between Chelsea and Real Madrid. And there's one question which we always ask you at the end of every match you cover for us here on Football Commentary Live. And that question is no other than what I'm about to ask you now. Who was your man of the match this evening, sponsored by Commentary Services?
I think N'Golo Conte, for me, was absolutely superb for Chelsea. I mean, everybody knows what he brings to this Chelsea team, don't they? You know, they know what he's all about. I think under Sarri and Frank Lampard in particular, he looked a player that was really not himself. He was playing in a different role. He was almost playing as a box-to-box midfielder. And I think when you have the that role, you kind of need the goal-scoring attributes to back that up. And that's nothing against Conte, but he's not that sort of player. He's a player who'll win the ball back, press in the middle and go and win it back and go and play that ball short to one of the better attacking players. And I thought he did it superbly tonight. He was good in the first half. He broke through the Madrid lines. They struggled to deal with him in terms of how they left him. And I thought second half, he had to do a lot more defensive work, be a little bit more dirty in there, be a little bit more dogged and show what he's all about. And, that was a performance that, showed the world and showed everybody why, Chelsea, 5 years ago paid that money and showed why he is one of the best players in the Premier League, and you could maybe even say in the world in terms of doing what he does and going and win the ball back. So I think it was a pretty obvious man of the match for me tonight.
Yes, and thank you very much for the excellent commentary once again, Matt. And Golo Kante, Matt's man of the match. Don't forget you can join Matt again on Thursday as he brings you commentary of Roma against Manchester United. Also, don't forget tomorrow you can join Mike Orneman as he brings you Paris Saint-Germain v Manchester City in the other Champions League semi-final. Manchester United versus Roma is in the Europa League semi-final. Villarreal versus Arsenal is at 8 o'clock on Thursday as well. That's from Mike Coleman. That's going to be also on Football Commentary Live, so make sure you tune in for that one. Then we've got on Saturday, we've got Sheffield Wednesday, Nottingham Forest with Nicholas Jones and myself. And then we've got Jack Cunningham and Mike Coleman bringing you commentary of Newcastle versus Arsenal as well. So on Sunday, that is at 2 o'clock. So we've got some matches coming up then between now and the weekend. Stay tuned if you want to listen to those matches. But from everyone here at Football Commentary Live today, thank you very much for listening to our coverage. If you've listened over on Storm FM, we've also put the coverage out tonight. Thank you very much. Over on Storm FM next, we've got the Chill Tuesdays with Mike Orneman. So make sure you head over, make sure you stay tuned for that. But on Football Commentary Live, we'll be back on Wednesday evening as Paris Saint-Germain take on Manchester City. But from all of us here at Football Commentary Live, thank you very much for listening and good night.